Will you guys attest to it? Please don't have this game spoiled.
Don't. It's so it won't land as well if you have things spoiled. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Okay, spoiler. Tiny details. This is the crap that I absolutely love. You talk about intimate games. The tiniest detail in this game was like, oh, no other game would say this. It's so amazing. Is that little moment, and this is the most boring way to start a spoiler discussion, so I'm sorry, but the little moment where Freya corrects Kratos saying back of your hand to like take Atreus' temperature. How do you guys think of that? That's so good.
Because it's happened in real life. Yeah. It happened where, I did that where, and I think that was you. My wife corrected me. It was like, it's the back of the hand. It just made sense, right? And so much of Kratos and the story is just stuff that has happened to us as fathers. And you don't even have to do very much. Just the fact that it's Kratos and the kid makes it feel bigger than it is.
Yeah, you're totally right. It works. Okay, real quick. When you first encounter the humans and there's a line where they're like, Sigmund, your knives. You imagine that being Sigmund from Norse mythology, right? Like that is the Sigmund?
No, that's just a dude named Sigmund.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Okay. I'll scratch that off. Okay.
Look that up. We were looking, in that case, for just kind of Norse names. That's why, like at one point, if you kill, and he killed Gunther or something. I don't remember what his name was, but like, we're just looking for common names at that point.
Okay. There we go. That's helpful.
If there's a reference there, it was a happy accident. Yeah. No, it was totally Sigmund.
God, you guys are so damn smart. Okay, this is where, I don't know if you have to light a joint for this question or what, but okay, thinking about realms, how this stuff works. Are all of the realms, okay, I guess the question is Midgard all of the Earth, or is it just that one area? Like, does a section of Midgard extend all the way to Greece? Is there a version of Asgard, which probably we weren't talking about yet, that also envelops the entire world? Basically, do the realms from Norse mythology expand beyond Norse mythology, is the question.
In my mind, you can contradict, and I don't think we ever necessarily said for certain, but like Midgard is Earth. It's,
all of Earth.
It's all of Earth or whatever. But like the people who are involved in Norse mythology, who worship those gods and whatever, are in this section of Earth, and to them, Midgard is to them what to the Greeks, whatever Gaia or the Earth or whatever was to them. It's just Earth to me. I didn't think of them when I was writing anything as completely separate places.
Yeah. So
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But
Kratos got on a boat and went north, and he found himself in this land that people happen to call Midgard.
Okay. So it's not like in Elfheim, if you keep walking, you can eventually get to the Egyptian version of Elfheim, which would be very trippy and cool.
I guess you theoretically could, because all of our realms, I mean, we established they exist, Freya says, they exist in the same physical space. They're essentially just kind of like, dimensions on top of each other. That's why the temple, the realm temple, and the bridge can all exist. It exists in all the realms. All the towers, all those things exist in the same realm. So, if you were inside the light temple in Alfheim, and you could theoretically travel right from there, to Muspelheim or Niflheim or any of those places, you would be in that location.
Right. Okay, got it. The thing I wanted to get into with spoilers here, talking about trimming sections and whatnot, was the Atreus getting cocky, realizing he's a god, embracing it a little bit too hard. Was that a section that was abbreviated in a big way?
Yes.
Okay.
In a big way, yeah. There was supposed to be another level, basically, that came from coming out of the Tears Vault when they have the father-son wine toast thing. After that, there was supposed to be a whole other level before going through the foothills and everything and up through the mountain again.
Okay, gotcha.
That did get abbreviated. We did our best to band-aid it as much as possible and make it still feel natural. I think if you put the screws to us, we would say that if it's more abrupt than we would have liked it to be. But I mean, overall, happy with it.
Yeah.
That, you know, there's always the things you wish you could hit a little bit harder, done a little bit better.
Of course, yeah.
Let breathe a little bit more.
Were there like distinct moments that you really regret, or I mean, not regret, but you wish people could have seen? Was Kratos more aggressive towards him about like, hey, knock that shit off, dude?
No, I think for us it was more, we just wanted more of a gentle ramp.
Yeah.
And that like you would start to get, I think. We moved some of the stuff into the Rune Vault, into Tyr's Vault, especially kind of the beginning of it when the kid says something about he wouldn't have felt so bad about killing the elves if he knew he was the dark elves if he knew he was a god. And,
yeah.
And they're just going, are we going to just leave that there? We wanted to do more of that, to have the kids. It feels pretty normal, but then the kid says something, and the player, and probably more Mimir than Kratos, would be like, what? What did he just say?
Yeah.
And that Kratos, I think something that we did both in the Alfheim level after coming out of the light and in that section, it was kind of like Kratos is okay with just taking it from his kid for a little bit. You know, his son will pop off a little bit and he'll just take it. He won't say anything until he's had enough. And I think for that stretch, it wasn't going to be so much Kratos correcting him, because a lot of the reason why, well, not a lot of, the whole reason why the kid is going down this path is because Kratos won't talk about the perils of what he's doing.
Right.
Because that would be opening himself up for things. So we would have used that stretch a little bit more to more gently ramp the kid up to the point where he snaps at Sindri, and then using Mimir to give the player, notions that something's not right.
Yeah. One of the most brilliant little moments in this game is in that section, where you get in the boat again and Atreus is like, we're gods, we can do whatever we want. What do you want to do right now? And then Kratos just says, I'll show you. And then it's just left in the player's control. That is so effing cool. I love that moment so much. Do you remember writing that specific little beat?
There was a lot of discussion of how to keep things so that players feel okay with exploring or doing critical path.
Right.
But that it's always an option for the player at that moment to do. And it took a lot of different passes of wording to figure out what would communicate that best.
And I love the idea of Kratos.
And in that moment, it was just, hey, we can do two things here at once.
Yeah, I think at one point we had gone down the path of Atreus being the voice of, hey, let's explore. I think Mom would like this. And Mimir being the one saying, but this is the way you're supposed to go. And I think Corey was the one who realized pretty early on that, like, if we have any character saying this is the thing you're supposed to be doing, then players or play testers would feel compelled to, well, I guess I got to do that.
I have to do it.
Yeah, he's the smartest guy in the world. I think he knows where to go and what I should be doing with my time. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. So, Corey was very, very smart about saying, let's just leave the Mimir portion out of it and let the kid give the players the option to go off. And then Kratos, as the player, makes the choice of what to do. That's
so good. I just love that he verbalizes it and just basically hands the reins to the player. It's such a cool little moment. Other cool little moment made me laugh out loud. I love when Baldur says, I thought my family was f***ed up. It's such a good moment. It's such a good line. So good job, guys. Okay,
Thanks.
Let's dive into the meat of this thing. Corey, in other interviews, has said that it was you guys driving into work was his version of the story, that you had the epiphany of, what if Atreus was Loki the whole time? Can you tell the story of how that came to be?
Oh, boy. I think we kind of knew what we wanted to we knew for a while that we were going to have the reveal of Faye being a giant. You know? Although she wasn't named Faye at all, she was always just like Mimir, or the kid being boy. Faye was always just the mother, because we don't want to settle on names. That forces us into a corner. So, but we always knew that Atreus' mother was going to be a giant, and well, you have a good way of kind of explaining this one, but like we just kind of knew that like we needed something more, and we knew that if we went one direction, if we were looking forward at what we wanted to plan for, what we would do after the fact, into further games, or what other writers could do further, we wanted to add a little something that was more impactful.
Yeah, it came mostly out of discussing the future.
Yeah.
That idea came out of it, and I think you were going like, well, maybe we should tease it.
Yeah. We were just like, well, yeah, if we put that into the end of this game, not only will that be something that players can just go, what about, but also, it locks in sort of what the next game might be about.
How long did it take Corey to warm up to the idea?
Thankfully, and that was the thing, is once we decided that this is what we needed to do, we took like a few weeks to like go, all right, if we do this, what are the implications of it? What do we need to kind of fix? And what could spill out of it creatively, in the story.
And we were scared to tell him because he might say no. He might say no.
Of course, it's huge.
Yeah. But so we lined up everything. We figured out, what the deal was with Jormungandr, who's Loki's kid. We figured out oh my God, who Atreus' mom would then be, and that the name should be Faye, because Laufey was Loki's mother in the mythology. And then it all just kind of really, other things just kind of kismet happened where it's like, okay, well, that means that Kratos, if he was called something by the Norse gods, then that would make him Farbauti. And Farbauti, what does that mean? It means cruel striker. And I'm like, well, that's perfect for Kratos. Cruel striker is perfect.
Everything's lining up except for Corey. Yeah.
Yes, basically. Anytime you approach, Corey is handling so many things with the game at all times that it's like, I think this goes for design, art, anything. Anytime you want to go in with a pitch, you kind of want to line things up so that whatever questions he throws at you, whatever holes he tries to poke, you have an answer for.
Right.
And so I had a piece of paper in front of me with all these things that I had written down as if he asked this, you can say this. If he asked this, you can say this. And then we sat down and kind of just told them the story and kind of said how we thought it would come about, which was basically what the dialogue pretty much ended up being exactly in the game. And I was expecting all these questions, and he was just like, we have to do that. And I was like, but I can give you arguments for why we should do it. But it was immediately. He just realized, yes, we have to do that.
Were you then going back to the script and cutting out references to Loki throughout the entire thing?
No, we actually never referenced Loki in the script, because we were always mindful of, we knew that we had to deal with Odin, right? And we knew that Thor was going to be kind of a big player that gets talked about as well. But we knew that the more we mentioned certain characters, the more players were going to, we felt like they might feel gypped if they didn't actually get to see them or fight them. So, we kind of purposefully left Loki off the table just because it wasn't an element that we felt like necessarily would fit into the themes and stuff that we were trying to tell. Loki's lineage and all that kind of stuff is a little bit weird compared to Thor had these two kids and one was strong, and we're like, we know that they're going to be bosses or in the game. So, we didn't have to strike anything from Loki at all.
And I think since we want to save things for the next game, you don't want to lock yourself into anything by writing something in the current game that's going to mess things up for the next one. So I think we're just trying not to deal with too many things, not knowing what the repercussions might be.
Yeah, I think probably from Marvel's influence, but a lot of people have taken that epiphany in the game to be like, oh, so Atreus is going to turn evil. He's going to be this evil little guy. Do you guys necessarily equate that with Loki being an evil god?
Well, I think that I think if you look at what we did with this game, most of the accepted Norse mythology of the characters who you think of as are the good gods or the good ones, they're the ones who are the biggest assholes.
Yeah.
And so the reverse is probably also true. There are definitely themes from Loki's kind of duality and his being the god, the trickster god that you can probably bet that if we did another one, that would be some things that we would kind of weave in.
Very cute, Matt. Very cute. If we did another one, who can say?
Who can say? Nothing's announced.
Uh-huh.
So, But yeah, no, I think that thinking that he might turn into an evil god, who knows? Maybe, but
Okay.
we tried to turn a lot of the stuff that was accepted about each of the gods kind of on their heads.
Yeah.
It's always just been in the DNA of God of War. So
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, a couple more quick ones. In your mind, do you mean it to be 100% clear cut that Athena actually appeared there, or do you want it to be ambiguous about whether or not Kratos is just freaking out and losing his mind a little bit?
I felt we probably didn't hit on it hard enough, I guess. But for us, she was never there. It was always when he's in the boat, he actually says, "Get out of my head."
Yeah.
And then when he sees her in the doorway and all that kind of stuff, after you get the blades and you fight and all that kind of stuff, Mimir has dialogue once you're in the realm between realms saying, "I know you weren't talking to me back there." So it was clear that Mimir didn't see her. So that for me was just kind of the way to say, this is all Kratos dealing with his issues, but she's not physically there.
Okay, there we go. In your mind now, Kratos at the end of the game, I mean, he certainly says, he's like, oh, I've got nothing left to hide. Here we go. Do you see him as fully relieved from his past? Because from players' minds, it's like, wait, Trey still doesn't know that he murdered his family. There's still a lot of secrets here, dude. You can't stand on top of the mountain and be like, game on, past,
We deliberately held that one back.
Okay.
I feel like that was as much growth as it would have been possible for Kratos to do by the end of the game. Anything past that would have probably felt artificial.
Okay.
I think we had several different, as we were breaking the story of the game in general, we had meetings with Corey and stuff like that. He was like, and he was pretty clear and absolutely right that like, we can't get to the point in this game where Kratos is being altruistic because he hasn't earned that yet. So I don't think that in the same regard, him admitting to that part of his past would have been a step too far, I think.
Yeah.
So in his, he doesn't have anything to hide. He's admitted to the servitude to Ares, and that's what the chains a lot of represent, and the bad things that he's done. But he does keep a piece of himself still.
He's got room to grow.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Important. What do you think when you read the fan speculation about the Tyr is Kratos stuff? What's your gut reaction to that?
I love all the fan speculation. Both from the standpoint of, well, I can pretend like this was my idea, and also from the standpoint of, well, okay, if this is what, mostly from the standpoint of, if this is what fans are kind of expecting, then we can turn this on its head. And it's fun. It's fun to see what people are kind of fan casting and fan speculating what's going to happen.
Yeah, I was reading a lot of that stuff, and then at some point last week I went, no more. Yeah, gotta try and stay fresh. Forget it. Don't look at it. And we would hate to have it where we come up with an idea and then we throw it out because we see that someone online thought of it.
Yeah,
right.
But it might be the right thing to do for the story. So like I'd rather just not have that kind of wading into things. I'd rather not have that.
But has it shifted? Fan speculation, has it shifted already the way you're thinking about where the story could go in theory?
Not really, actually. I think that for us, in all honesty, most of the time, it's when someone mentions something that is very close to where we were heading with it, it has made us question whether we should do it. And I think that's why Rich is kind of getting at okay, we have to stop looking at it, because we've come to the point where if this is where the character should go, based on the mountain of stuff we created for this last one, then this is where they need to go. And we shouldn't kind of second guess ourselves just based on the notion of, well, we don't want to do it if people are expecting that.
Right.
So it's a bit of a catch-22.
Yeah. Corey, last time he was on this podcast, was talking about the future, and he said that I think it's important to change up the leadership of God of War. He always liked God of War being directed by different people. And I'm curious, what do you think about that strategy, that philosophy of shaking things up if the series ever continues into the future?
Shaking things up is always kind of scary and uncomfortable, but you also create new avenues of creativity that you wouldn't have gotten to if you don't shake things up. So, as is represented by Kratos, change is painful, but it's often a good thing.
Agreed.
He said it so well.
It's really beautiful. Well, overall, guys, I cannot thank you enough for years and years of hard work, and for the entire team over there to put so much effort into this thing. Like, the greatest compliment I think I can give you guys is you made game writing look easy. So congratulations, you guys. It's a hell of a project you guys just finished off there.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, no, can't be more thankful and happy with the reception.
Thank you so much for watching this excerpt from the Game Informer Show podcast. You can subscribe to the audio version and listen to new episodes airing every Thursday. We cover big games on the horizon, games that we've just reviewed. We have long-form developer interviews, a lot of fun stuff. So check it out every Thursday.